Washington, D.C., once just the capital of the United States, today a symbol of strength and a bulwark of hope for the entire world. And as Washington has grown in international significance, so has the Department of Justice. Its nerve center is the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The F.B.I. and its carefully selected and trained special agents, or G-men, have earned a reputation for integrity and efficiency. Every 18 seconds, somewhere, somebody is committing a crime. More than 6 million persons have police records. In 1 year, the F.B.I. laboratory made more than 67,000 examinations of evidence. And the Identification Division, with a file of 120 million fingerprints, answers thousands of identification requests daily from local peace officers. Individual identification can be made in as little as 3 minutes. Fingerprinting is the most accurate personal identification system ever developed. A man's fingerprints can never be altered or destroyed from the time he is born until after he is dead. A single print in these files can mean the difference between freedom and imprisonment, even life or death. Yet a man desperate enough to dare anything might try to gain access to the files through the F.B.I. girls and boys. No trained, capable special agents, just nice, normal, young human beings, to whom the keeping of these files is a sacred trust. Our story started when the Senate Crime Committee listed Capital City for investigation.
That's right, gentlemen. I think this Senate crime inquiry is a splendid example of democracy in action.
Then you're not worried about the committee coming to Capital City, Governor?
Worried? Why, on the contrary, I welcome it. I think it's a healthy influence. Now, it might be different if I had something to hide.
What about those stories connecting you with the syndicate?
Absolutely nothing to them. Vicious, ugly, and unfounded rumors started by my unscrupulous opponents. My skirts are clean, gentlemen. If the committee hadn't decided to come to Capital City, I would have requested this investigation.
Is that good politics, Governor?
It's the best politics. Look at it this way. If you wanted a clean bill of health personally, what would you do? Have a physical examination, right? It's the same way with the government. The way to keep it vigorous, healthy, serving the best interests of the public is to examine it periodically. I think this Senate crime investigation will prove one of the finest things that's ever happened in our great state.
I'm sorry, gentlemen, but that's just about all the time we'll have. We'd like to thank Governor Grisby for this inspiring democratic message.
Thank you for the opportunity.
We all hope to have you back again soon.
Thank you, Governor.
Tune in next week at the same time for another meeting with the press panel. We're off the air.
Hello, Blake.
Those were lovely words, Owen.
This is no time for sarcasm. We're in desperate trouble. You know that as well as I do.
Take it easy, Governor.
If it were just this committee, I wouldn't worry. After all, what can they do? But if I'm convicted of any charge, no matter how trivial, my fingerprints automatically go to the F.B.I. in Washington. I can see the headlines now. Fingerprints identify Governor Grisby as John Williams.
We've been able to keep your secret pretty well up to now, I think.
I sometimes wonder if it wouldn't have been better for me to have given myself up years ago. Living with a thing like this for so long, If it hadn't been for you, Blake, I think I would have.
You're taking this far too seriously, Owen. We haven't done too badly together.
But has it been worth it? What about Carl Charcourt? For all the money we're giving him, he should be able to do something.
A lobbyist can only do so much, no matter how powerful he is. My influence stops at the front door of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. But I think I found a way in just the same. We'll be able to get your John Williams fingerprint card from the F.B.I. files.
Is that possible?
No one knows better than I how important this is. I've been working on something for 2 months now, just in case, and I think we're ready. I wouldn't be surprised to see those prints within 24 hours.
Well, I hope so. This is getting to be almost too much for me.
Why don't you look on the bright side of things, Owen? Senate elections are coming up within a year. If you come through this investigation all right, you should make great senatorial timber.
You think so?
Why not? Well, wish me luck.
Yes, I wish us both luck.
You know, it would be a novelty in this great country of ours, wouldn't it? A man running for the United States Senate with a murder charge hanging over his head.
Yes. Yes, Mr. Blake. Well, of course I understand. What? No, not yet, but my sister's here with me now, and I'm sure she'll...
Who is that, Paul?
Well, you won't have to do anything like that, Mr. Blake. No, you can depend on me. Yes. Yes, sir.
What's wrong, Paul? Who are you talking to?
Guy I know. Oh, look, Sis, I've got to ask you to do something for me. It means an awful lot. More than I can say.
You're in some kind of trouble.
Big trouble.
Well, I'll do anything I can, Paul, to help. I always have.
Oh, I know, Sis. This isn't very easy. Oh, I hate to have to ask you. If it weren't so important, I'd never even...
Well, tell me, what is it?
You've got to get me a fingerprint card out of the F.B.I. files.
A card?
Boy, I know how you feel about the Bureau. I'm in an awful jam.
Now look what you've done.
Well, that's all right. Mine are in the M's and you're in the W's. Oh, see? See, here's yours. John.
Thanks.
Yeah, but I can't find your charge-out slip.
Never mind.
Well, you know what they'll do to you for pulling a file without
I
it?
know all about it.
I'm just kidding, Miss Tree.
Sure.
If I can help you at all, I'd be very glad to.
Donald, I told you, never mind.
Okay.
Yes, Owen. It's all taken care of. You have nothing to worry about. Just a minute. Stop that, Georgia. I'm sorry, Owen. I just got word. His sister's picking up the prints tonight.
Well, I hope so. The investigators will be here in less than 2 weeks.
You'll have that card tomorrow. Then they can probe as deep as they like.
What about the girl? She might talk.
Don't worry. All right, boys.
local police were handling Natalie Craig's death like an ordinary hit and run. But because she was a clerk in the identification division of the FBI, the Bureau was notified and we were sent to investigate.
Any luck? Found a couple of latent prints on her handbag.
Rush them right over to identification and tell McAllister to give us a report.
Right.
What's the story?
Guy wears 11.5 eddy. Big fellow. Must tip the scales way over 200.
You got her address?
Stanley Apartments. Natalie Craig.
Too bad. She was a pretty good-looking dame.
Yeah, and I got a date with a live one back at the hospital in half an hour. Hit that siren, will you, Junior?
I should have listened to Marion. I'm stuck to my criminal law practice.
You should have.
Yeah, only she didn't approve of some of the characters I came in contact with.
So the ones you meet now are such an improvement? Those prints on Natalie's handbag were all we had to work on. That and a hunch this wasn't just a hit and run. And when we got McAllister's report on the prints, we were sure of it.
These are the prints we got off the girl's handbag. And these belong to a character named George Denning, also known as George Denton, also Georgia. Weight about 240.
And wears an 11.5 shoe?
Friend of yours?
Just psychic. What else have you got on him?
Tried once on suspicion of murder. Supposed to have carved up a girl 3 years ago. He beat the rap. Served time on 3 convictions, all as a guest of the state of Georgia. Seems he underwent psychiatric treatment in prison.
Emotionally unstable, eh? The worst kind of a killer.
Well, there's nothing more we can do here. Let's get over to the Stanley apartment.
Sure.
No, thank you. I've got to go in.
5 minutes.
You forget I'm a working girl.
But these might be the most important 5 minutes of your whole life. May I ask you to marry me again?
I've already said yes. How many times do I have to keep telling you?
Oh, I'd just like to hear you say it.
F.B.I.
Oh?
Sorry to bother you so late, but there's some questions we want to ask you.
Well, wait just a second.
Who is it?
Oh, from the Bureau, they say.
Young?
I couldn't seem well to tell. May I examine your identification cards again, please? Thank you. Will you come in?
Thank you.
I'm Doris Kay. Mr. Stedman, Mr. Donnelly, this is Susan Matthews.
How do you do? When did you girls last see Natalie Craig?
Well, not since work, but why do you want to know? Hello.
This is Shirley Wayne, our other roommate. Mr. Stedman, Mr. Donnelly. Shirley, they're here from the department asking about Nat.
This is Carl Shurcourt.
How do you do?
How are you?
What about Natalie?
Well, it's not very pleasant. She was killed tonight.
Killed? How?
Another car ran her off the road. I'm sorry, Shirley.
Then again, it might have been deliberate.
But why should anybody want to kill Natalie?
That's what the FBI would like to find out. Where did she spend the evening?
We had dates in town. It was Natalie's turn to use the car.
What about her friends?
Well, she didn't go out very much. She kept to herself most of the time.
Her brother Paul was the only person I ever heard of mention.
She seemed unusually upset this morning. I saw her at lunch today. She was with Paul. They both seemed terribly worried.
Anything else you can tell us?
I know this is none of my business, but Won't this hold until tomorrow?
Yeah, well. Come on, Glenn, let's call it a night. Thanks very much, ladies. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
But I keep telling you, I don't know anything. I don't know who'd want to kill her or why.
Paul, we think somebody deliberately murdered your sister. Can't you tell us anything?
I've already told you. Tonight at the morgue's the first time I've seen her in days.
You had lunch with her today.
I forgot about that.
Why were the two of you so scared?
We weren't. We had lunch, that's all.
That's all, Paul. Thanks. You can go home now. And drive Mr. Craig home, will you?
The kid's scared. He knows more than he's telling, that's for sure. We'll have him tailed.
Oh, and it was all arranged so she'd have to come through. The place, the time, the accident. Everything worked out. Just one thing. The prints weren't on her.
Why did you have to kill her?
I couldn't take the chance. She might have led them straight to us.
But what about her brother?
We thought they'd be together. Now the FBI's watching him. I don't think he'll do much talking, though, for a while. He's too scared.
I don't know how much more of this I can stand. A murder to cover up another. And we still don't have those fingerprints.
There are some things that can't be done with a gun or a payoff. Removing your fingerprints from the FBI files is one of them.
You reached one girl. Can't you find another?
It took me 2 months to set up the Craig girl. I can't perform a miracle in 2 weeks.
You must. Unless you do, I'm giving myself up.
I was sure sorry to hear about Natalie.
So was I.
Hey, Shirley, you know what? I just remembered. Natalie pulled a card yesterday without a charge-out slip.
Are you sure?
Oh, I'm so sure I'm positive.
Donald, come with me.
Well, she had this card in her hand, and when I pulled the file drawer open, I didn't see her behind me. I guess it took her by surprise.
Well, go ahead, Donald. You're doing fine.
Well, anyway, she dropped the card, and I went to help her pick it up. Not that I did it on purpose or anything.
What about that card she dropped?
Well, like I told Miss Wayne, she didn't have a charge-out slip on it. When I started to get the card, I thought she was going to faint. She seemed so nervous. She almost took my arm off, grabbing it away from me. But I got a quick look at it.
Is her name on the card George Denning?
Oh, no, sir. It was in the W's. Williams. John Williams.
Well, how about running downstairs and lifting him out of the files for us?
Oh, it's going to take a long time, Mr. Donnelly. There's nearly 10,000 John Williams in the file.
No record George Denning, also known as George Denton, also Georgia, this city. Carlson, Milwaukee.
Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Boston, New York. Same from every office. Nobody home.
you ask me, our Georgia friend is still holed up in town.
Let's throw him a coming out party.
It looks just like Daddy.
Come on.
Well, he does, doesn't he?
And in cooperation with the FBI and local police, we are televising the official photographs of this man, taken from the files of the FBI. If you have ever seen this man or know where he is, contact your local FBI or police immediately.
Hello. This is Alex Nicholson, and I'm a bellhop at the Howard Hotel. This George Denning you're looking for. Well, there's a guy living here at the hotel who could be his brother. Only his name isn't Denning, it's Douglas. Yeah, well, there was a card party up in his room the other night, and I took up some drinks, and they had a young kid in the game they called Craig. Yeah, that's it, Paul Craig. Of course, I don't know, but I kind of thought maybe it might have something to do with that Natalie Craig girl that got killed.
Is he still there?
Yeah, room 202.
We'll be right over.
Code Baker, destination Howard Hotel.
Denning lived here, all right.
We've got an ambulance on its way. Too bad he can't enjoy the ride.
Check room 202 and pick up anything you can.
Let's get over to Craig's apartment. If the fat boy's out for anyone who can identify him, the kid's probably next on the list.
What's all exciting?
Denning just packed away the night plug at the hotel where he lives. We figure he's out gunning for Craig.
I just got him wrapped up for the night about 20 minutes ago. Probably up there brushing his teeth right now.
Well, we'll just make sure he cleans them pretty good.
Stick around, will you?
Hey, Craig.
Call an ambulance.
Brother of FBI girl clings to life. Paul Craig lingers near death after knifing by unknown assailant.
You stupid pig.
Why didn't you make sure he was dead?
I don't understand it, Mr. Blake. I gave him the same treatment I gave that bellhop at the hotel. I don't understand it.
You will if he lives to talk.
Then I guess I maybe should do something about that.
The police have their fingers around your throat so tight, it's a wonder you don't strangle to death. Waldo.
Mr. Blake, you know I'm a cautious soul. Why, all of Georgia didn't sleep for a whole year just looking for me. And they had bloodhounds.
You've a stronger smell about you today. Well, go ahead.
Yes, Father.
Paul Craig's room number, please.
I'm sorry, but he's allowed no visitors.
Yes, I know, but I was sent for.
Room 914.
Thank you.
Good day to your reverend. Shame about that poor lad. 'Tis rumored he won't last to see the night. But with you now about to be praying over him, maybe there'll be a miracle.
It's what I'll be praying for.
Sorry, Father.
Call the fire department. We want him off that ledge alive. I'm sorry, Pop. Nothing for a man out there.
Don't be stupid, Denning. You can't go anywhere.
You want me alive? Come and get me.
Yeah, we want you alive.
What am I worth to you?
No deals.
You make me laugh.
May I speak to him?
Well, you can try, Father. But I don't think it'll help.
This man, he's a priest.
No, Father, he's not a real priest. He's not even human.
Whatever you've done, this is not the way. You can never justify taking your own life.
Keep talking if it makes you happy. Go on, talk.
No matter what you've done, don't add to it with the worst of all crimes. It's not too late. You can remake your life and atone for what's past. If we try honestly to make amends, he can still forgive.
Heaven talk will get you nothing. Besides, this ain't Sunday.
Won't you give me a hand?
Let me help you. Another death.
Yes. Fortunately for us, he didn't live to talk. You know, you could always depend on Georgia. He died for a noble cause.
4 deaths. And we're no better off than before we started.
Oh, I wouldn't say that, Owen.
My fingerprints are still in the FBI files in Washington, further out of our reach than ever. And instead of being wanted on 1 murder charge, I'm now implicated in 3 others.
They haven't got a thing on us. The only possible witnesses are dead.
That isn't the point. If I had known that it would have meant violence, I never would have consented.
But, Owen, it's your life we're trying to save, not mine.
I can always resign.
Oh, do you think that would influence the crime committee? It would only confirm their suspicions.
Well, I can get out of the country.
How far do you think you'd get? Your face is too well known.
I haven't been a bad governor. For 20 years, I've honestly tried to do my best. But there's no other course open now. I've got to give myself up. At least then it will be off my conscience.
You know, you'd be destroying a lot more than your own life.
That's unfortunate, but it can't be helped.
I think it can.
What are you doing?
I need a set of your prints. We're going to kill John Williams legally.
Legally?
Yes. Give me your right hand, Owen. A drunk with no name was found dead in the gutter today. We're going to substitute your prints for his. Send them to Washington for identification. The FBI will identify them as John Williams' prints. John Williams will be legally dead. Prints will be removed from the file. The file will be closed.
I'm sure this is the same car that Miss Craig had.
Thanks, Donald. You can go now.
Yes, sir.
Doesn't add up, Don. The fingerprints match, but the descriptions don't fit. These belong to some bindle stiff they found dead in a railroad yard up in Capital City.
Well, dead or alive, this Williams, as we know him, must be a prominent man. A man with plenty of money and contacts in Washington. A man almost clever enough to crawl into our files and...
Yes, and kill our girl and knock off the only other two witnesses who could put their finger on him.
Well, if that's the kind of a character we're dealing with, what's to prevent him from planting his prints on some poor stiff and have us close the case for him?
Say, this guy seems to be very much alive.
And there's just one place to find out.
Capital City. We didn't take much with us to Capital City except hunches. A hunch this Capital City drunk wasn't John Williams at all. A hunch that John Williams was still alive and that he was involved in the murders of Natalie and Paul Craig. Our first stop was a broken-down rooming house across the tracks, listed by the police as Williams' last address.
Are you looking for me?
If you're the landlady.
I am. The room's $6 a week and there's no cooking. You get clean sheets every Saturday. And the bathroom's down the hall.
What about your last client?
Oh, and another thing, no drinking. Been all morning scrubbing this place to get the smell of the stuff out of here. Don't want no pigs living here. But you don't look like that type.
Oh, thanks. The man who had this room, you know anything about him?
What'd you say?
I said the man who lived here. When did you last see him?
If you want that room for you, I'll let you do cooking. Would I be hanging a for rent sign out front if his things were still here? He took the place yesterday morning. I haven't seen him since.
What happened to his things?
Some jerk come along this morning and said he was his brother. He cleaned all the stuff out. You know what I think? He's probably dropped dead somewhere. Dead drunk.
Well, the one that came in here this morning, did you get his name?
I didn't hear him too good. Only names I remember is the ones on the money.
Let's go, Donnelly. We're wasting the lady's time.
Did you want the room?
Well, if we change our mind, we'll be back. John Williams, yeah?
Wanted for murder, huh? Well, you'd never think it to look at him. Of course, you lay in that icebox for 24 hours, they all come out peaceful and innocent looking. Oh, yeah, Williams, here he is. Brought in day before yesterday. Found him down by the railroad tracks, dead drunk. It's all here in the book, just like I said.
Well, let's have a look at him.
His brother came in to claim him, kind of a quiet, ugly guy. Never even bothered looking at him, just had me ship him over to Chauncey Brothers Mortuary.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. I'm Mr. Chauncey. What can I do for you?
We're checking on a man by the name of Williams.
William? Oh, of course, John Williams.
Mind if we take a look at him?
Oh, excuse me, I'll be back in just a moment. Here he is. His brother arranged for everything.
Donnelly had to check with our field office, so I took the plane back to Washington alone. It was quite a trick they tried to pull, palming off the identity and fingerprints of a man wanted for murder on a dead man, then cremating the body before we could check. It might have worked, too, except for the coincidence of one clerk spotting one card out of millions. Anyway, we were convinced John Williams was alive somewhere in Capital City. This is a day for coincidences, even though I didn't realize it at the time.
Anyone using this seat?
No, sit down.
Thank you. The lady up there is traveling with a baby. Not that I don't like children.
Yes, I know what you mean.
Newspaper, sir?
Yes, thank you very much.
That's you, sir?
No, thank you.
Quite a thing, this Senate investigation. Good for the country, don't you think?
Yes, I do.
Heard Governor Grisby discussing it on television the other night. Did you happen to hear it?
No, I'm sorry. I live in Washington.
Oh? Work for the government?
Yes, just another bureaucrat.
I'm from Capital City, but my work takes me to Washington occasionally.
Oh, what's your line?
Oh, public relations.
Ah.
What do they think of Grisby down in Washington?
What do you mean?
Well, we think he's senatorial material. As a matter of fact, there are several groups in Capital City who are thinking of backing him.
What about this investigation?
Oh, you take the finest house. If you look hard enough, you find a little dirt under the rug. But as far as Grisby's concerned, why...
Nice fellow, I thought, as I listened to him. We even made plans to get together for a drink sometime at the Mayflower. If I'd only known. We were going to get together, all right, but not for a drink.
Lining of the suspenders. And the lining of the coat matches the lining of the pockets. Put your shoe on. And the lining of the hat matches the lining of the shoes. And the handkerchief matches the shirt. Put your shoe on. Now the cufflinks match the ring, and the lining of the sleeve matches the lining of the shirt. And now, ladies and
Do you
gentlemen...
devote all your time to the FBI, Mr. Stedman?
Are you sure you don't know what time Shirley will be home?
Does it really matter that much?
I don't even know why I talked to you.
What are you talking about now?
I mean, all of a sudden, you've got such a big head. Backstage, I was asking you a very important question, and you walked right past me.
I didn't say hello to you backstage?
That's right.
Tom, I can give you the whole excuse.
What is it?
You know the reason? Since our flight from Buffalo, Tom, my ears have been plugged up. I've had these periodic spells of deafness. I can't hear a thing.
Oh, Pete, why didn't you tell me? The same thing happens to me.
You're joshing.
Every time I get in an airplane, my ears plug up. I can't hear a thing.
Well, what do you do about it, Tom?
Well, I'll tell you, Pete, in the trip from Cincinnati, I picked up these medically treated pieces of cotton, see?
Yeah.
Now, you take these pieces of cotton, put them in your ears, you can hear anything anybody says.
Huh?
I say with the cotton in your ears, you can hear anything anybody says.
Could you speak up a bit, Tommy? The airplane ride from
I
Buffalo...
say with the cotton in your ears, you can... Just a second, I'll show you. I say with the cotton in your ears, you can hear anything anybody says.
Hey, these are wonderful. Where'd you get them?
Huh?
I said, where did you get the cotton?
Your lips are moving. Are you talking?
Certainly I'm talking.
Huh?
I said, where did you get the cotton? They're great.
Got them in Cincinnati.
Huh?
I picked them up in Cincinnati.
What was that, Tom?
I bought them in Cincinnati. I'll give them back to you. I bought them in Cincinnati.
No kidding. How much did they cost?
Huh?
I said, how much were the earplugs?
You're not coming in at all, you know.
I said...
Could you raise it an octave higher, please?
How much did they cost?
Huh?
You've got them now, Totter.
$10 a pair.
What was that?
I'll fix this. $10 a pair.
Do they come in colors?
Any color you like.
Peppermint coated?
Like to dance?
I'd love to dance.
Ticket, please.
Yes, here's my ticket. Boy, am I glad to see you. I want to talk to you, Shirley. Alone. Look at you, Tom.
It's important. Official.
A derelict.
We can take a hint.
Only when I have...
Well, excuse us a minute, will you, girls?
It's ashamed. It's hard to believe that you and
Very
I...
funny guys.
Yeah, very funny. Dopes.
I thought the B in F.B.I. stood for bravery.
Well, it did, until your roommates tried to make a test case out of it.
I have a date this evening. I'm being picked up in about an hour. Do you mind if I change?
No, not at all. Go right ahead.
Thank you. What is it you wanted to see me about?
Well, you're not going to like it.
How do you know until you ask me?
Shirley, we've hit an impasse on the Craig case. The car that Natalie pulled on John Williams turned up again. This time as an inquiry from the Capital City Police, asking us to identify a dead man. Now, the thing that threw us was that the prints matched those of the Williams that we have on file. We followed the lead back to Capital City, and all we got for our troubles was a handful of ashes and a couple of angles. A hunch that John Williams is still alive, and that the one who may know his real identity is Carl Shercourt.
Carl! Do you mean to tell me that he had something to do with Natalie's death?
Well, now, we don't know that yet. But we do know that John Williams, whoever he is a big man in Capital City. And Carl is the #1 lobbyist for all the big interests in Capital City. He's been trying for weeks to kill a Senate Crime Committee hearing on the political machine that runs that state.
You'll never convince me that Carl had anything to do with murder.
Now, Shirley, this is important. He may know who Williams is.
Well, why don't you ask him?
What, and blow the case if he's involved? I was hoping you'd be our inside angle.
Let me get this straight. Are you trying to tell me that you're going to use me to get information out of Carl?
Well, I told you you wouldn't like it.
Good night, Mr. Stedman. Here's your hat. And you might look up the meaning of another word in your F.B.I. motto. Fidelity.
What's the matter, darling?
Carl, those people you lobby for, you never talk about them. Who are they?
Business people. Politicians with their hands out looking for favors.
But what are they like?
Oh, I don't know. I never stopped to figure it out. With me, it's strictly a job. You know, it's cold reality that operates my world, Shirley. Money. Made up my mind to that a long time ago. I made up my mind when I saw my father die from a stroke in the middle of a speech on the Senate floor. He spent his whole life fighting for causes. Died broke. But not me. Not when I can use the contacts I have and make more money in a year than he made in his whole lifetime. Why all the sudden questions?
Carl, I've been hearing rumors inside the Bureau.
Never take a rumor in Washington seriously. If they ever stopped, nobody'd have anything to talk about.
But this is different. It's about you and the people you lobby for.
The people I lobby for is my own business. I'm registered with the government. Why should it bother the FBI?
Well, it does. The Bureau thinks somebody in your group killed Natalie when she failed to turn over a fingerprint file on a man wanted for murder. The same file turned up later was identified as belonging to a dead man. Well, the FBI thinks that man's alive. And through your connections, you might know who he is.
That's ridiculous. My job's politics, not murder.
That's why I'm telling you, Carl.
Those fingerprints. What did you say the name of the man was?
I didn't. But it's John Williams.
John Williams. Never heard of him.
Must be important you're calling me up here this hour of the night. What's the big mystery you couldn't talk about over the phone?
John Williams.
Who's he?
I thought you might be able to tell me, Blake. Since we're all brothers under the skin, he's one of us.
Did you pull me out of bed and drag me clear across the Potomac just to play a name quiz?
The F.B.I. wants him for murder. Does that mean anything to you?
Might impress me. What else do you know about him?
That he's supposed to be dead.
Then what's the problem?
The FBI doesn't think he is. Who is he, Blake?
Where'd you dig all this up?
Straight from the FBI. The girl I'm engaged to happens to work for the Bureau.
Really? How convenient. What division?
Fingerprint identification.
Carl. For a young fellow, you've come a long way. You've managed to get all the good things out of life. Lucky girl. I only hope she can enjoy them.
What are you driving at?
We have a slight problem on our hands. There's a rope around our necks, big enough to fit all of us. But I think now it can be removed without too much difficulty. This, girl you're engaged to. It should be a simple matter for her to extract a certain set of prints from those files.
Like Natalie Craig? Uh-uh. You picked the wrong girl this time, Blake.
No. No, I haven't. Well, here's to your future happiness.
Anything else?
Oh, that's all, thanks. Shirley, something's happened. It's about what you told me last night. Today it has a different meaning.
Yes, Carl.
I want you to listen to me very carefully and try hard to understand. Suppose Williams was a really important man who got off to the wrong start, and no matter how hard he tried, couldn't make up for it. And now his past is about ready to explode. And unless something is done about it, several innocent lives may be destroyed.
Why don't you say it, Carl? You want me to get John Williams' fingerprints out of the files. That's what you're trying to say, isn't it? Last night you said you had nothing to do with him. You didn't even know him. Now today you're asking me to betray a trust for a murder.
It's not for him, Shirley. It's for us. For everything I've battled for all the things I want for you.
And you want me to help buy it?
I can't explain it, Shirley, but do it. Do it for me.
I'll be late for work, Carol. Can we leave?
That jerk. I asked him in to say goodnight, and all of a sudden I got a struggle on my hands. All he wanted to do is to show me how they take fingerprints, he says. So I gave him my fingers, all 5 of them, right in his face.
So what did he do?
He almost broke my arm, the idiot.
Come on in.
chair.
I'm sorry about what I said last night. I was the one that should have understood the meaning of fidelity.
You told Shercourt?
Yes.
I knew you would.
You knew?
Sure. That's exactly what he wanted you to do.
But I...
Now, what about Carl?
Well, today, for the first time since I've known him, he was waiting outside my apartment to drive me to work. I knew why he was there, and I suddenly got all twisted up inside.
He wants you to pull the fingerprint card on John Williams.
What were his reasons?
His career, everything he's worked for, our life together.
Well, pretty convincing reasons.
And what do you think of them, Shirley?
I'm all mixed up. I love him, but if he's tied in with the wrong things, I've got to know. You said Carl was your last angle.
Uh-huh. You might get hurt.
Yes, I know.
What can I say, Shirley?
There's nothing to say. I did what you wanted.
But what about us? I was the one who always thought money could buy anything. Causes, people, anything. You know, it's ironic. The one time I couldn't buy my way out, I had to come to you. You'll never know how sorry I am. I said I'd bring the prince to you, Blake.
Thought I'd save you a trip. Followed her here, just for insurance.
Is this a good enough premium?
Why, that depends.
Now stay away from us, Blake.
And that depends.
I better go now. We've both got a lot to think about.
Convinced those are not my prints, Blake?
I'm convinced.
You think Carl helped her?
No, I don't think so. He's much too involved.
What about the FBI?
If they knew who John Williams was, you wouldn't be here, Owen. And just to protect your luck, there's a quiet little church down the road. Drop in and make an offering. A large one. And a prayer might help.
But will the FBI hear it?
I'm sure they will.
All set.
We had a camera crew staked out across from Shercourt's apartment. We knew that once you gave him the prints, he'd deliver them personally or turn them over to a contact.
He never left his place, but he certainly had lots of callers.
While you were in the apartment, we saw this man enter. He sat next to me on the plane from Capital City. He claimed to be a public relations man. Do you know who he is, Shirley?
I was in the balcony. I heard voices, but I couldn't hear what they were saying.
Well, we had him followed to the airport where he took a plane to Capital City. We're still waiting for a report.
About a half an hour after you left, this kid showed up. He only stayed a few minutes.
Turned out to be Sonny Pardo. He worked for the biggest bookie in town.
Yeah. Shercourt must have had a bad day.
Who's she?
She's a stenographer. Very efficient one, too. Takes about 120 words a minute shorthand and rattles off around 90 a minute on the typewriter. Like to see the report? Now, this intriguing character turned out to be Handsome Harry, an ex-wrestler. He now makes with massages instead of faces. While Shercourt was having a rub-down, Stephen Merrill, the real estate king from Capital City, paid him a visit.
Give it, Rand. Donnelly. Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay, thanks. That was Palmer from Capital City. He tailed Shercourt's friend to the Mannering Hotel. That's where he lost him. Just his luck, the hotel was overcrowded with 3 conventions. He said the place was a madhouse.
Right back where we started.
I'm sorry I couldn't be more helpful.
Well, that's all right, Sherry, and keep in touch with us.
I will.
I think the pressure's beginning to show on our girl.
Well, she's in a pretty rough spot, doing a man's job for us and carrying a torch for Shercourt.
Miss Wayne?
Yes? What do you want?
I'm a close friend of Carl Shercourt. I'd like to talk to you. In private. Why did you switch those prints? Miss Wayne, about those fingerprints.
I couldn't go through with it. I thought any set would get by, so I used my own.
I'm only going to say this once, Miss Wayne, so I want you to remember it. I want the real fingerprint file on John Williams.
Hello, Benson. Glenn Stedman. Say, how long will it take you to forge a set of prints for me? On one of our file cards. Good, I'll send the card right over. Oh, and age it down a bit, will you?
This little dream operates on the same principle as a walkie-talkie. Built-in batteries, extra sensitive microphone, the switch when you want to go on the air. Turn it on a minute, will you, Glenn? The range is a little bit less than a mile, but all our cars are tuned to the same wavelength, same as this. You try it.
What'll I say?
Just don't run out of words when the right time comes.
See if you can turn it off okay. Shouldn't have any trouble.
Can't tell it from the original. We gave it the complete treatment. Dust and all.
Fine job, Gibson. Then what?
I'm to have Carl pick me up. I'm to give them to him.
It's not too late to back out.
I've still got things to find out.
You make your call to Shercourt.
Relax, Shirley.
Yes, Miss Wayne. Relax.
Blake.
Just watch the road. We don't want any accidents. Keep going straight ahead. I'll take that fingerprint card now, Miss Wayne. Let's have the prints. Thanks.
Donnelly, keep a clear channel. Wayne with Shercourt. license number D9669. Headed over the 14th Street Bridge, speed 35 miles an hour. Put Operation 1 into effect as planned. We're coming onto the bridge now. It could be any place from here.
Don't get lost. Harris, you and Lockwood reach this point. You'll have to hit 55 and 60 all the way.
Right.
You and Barnes get to this spot and stake yourselves out until you pick up further word from Donnelly and Stedman. All police have been alerted. You won't be stopped.
Too much to tell us where we're going?
Not at all. I'm having a little celebration at my house tonight, and you two are the guests of honor.
How nice. Then we'll get to meet Mr. Williams.
It's a surprise party, Miss Wayne. You wouldn't want me to spoil all the fun, would you?
If we hit open country, we'll have to drop back and we'll lose contact. Get the flash to Whitey.
Donnelly again. We're on the Virginia side, heading towards the Lincoln Highway. Over.
Stay with him. Operation 1 underway.
Slow down for a minute. Now, keep driving at the same speed.
Do you always have your car follow you, Mr. Blake?
Your eyes are as good as your memory, Miss Wayne.
Company.
The wrong kind.
I never figured you'd have pulled a double cross, Blake.
I said it all depends.
They're fading fast. I don't like it, Glenn. If we pace them, he'll see us, and if we pull back, we'll lose him.
We'll have to sweat it out.
What about the girl?
What about it? Well, go ahead and say it. There are times to forget the case and think of the people involved. It's nice work if you can do it. Once you start to compromise with your personal feelings, that's the time to quit this job.
Donnelly, to all cars. All cars. Target has picked up a seeing eye. We have to pull back. Request Operation 2 at once. You get me, Whitey? Over and out.
All cars, verify positions.
Barnes at point A, proceeding as planned. Lockwood, cruising assigned route, on schedule.
Hold positions. Keep channel open for Operation 2. Over and out.
Yes, sir.
Scott, Washington Airport.
Doesn't that take us along the river?
Scott, it's Operation 2 from helicopter. Picked up range on target 2, moving in to follow. They've turned off Lincoln Highway, destination someplace along the river. All cars covered. Guard out.
There's a narrow dirt road half a mile just beyond that clump of trees. Turn into it.
Scott, over target now. Leave highway and hit river. Oh, about 3 miles up and follow my taillight. I'll be hanging right over them. Guard out. Stop to all cars. You see me, over?
Lockwood, check. We're right with you.
Barnes, check. Position minus 2 miles.
Donnelly, check.
Hello, Carl.
Governor Grisby.
I'm sorry you had to be dragged into this. It was the only way.
Here's your miracle, Governor.
It'll take more than a miracle to get you out of this, Governor.
I've waited a long time. Carl, there'll always be a place for you with us. I have 2 more years in office. Next, it might even be the White House.
You haven't a chance. Not with men like Blake in your organization.
You've just burned up your past, but you're not blowing up my future, and Surecourt's not setting the fuse. Doing this my way.
Stop, to all cars. Park at my left. Right on river. Check me if you're in range.
We're in range. Keep your taillight burning. We're homing on it. Donnelly and out.
Barnes to Scott. Give us 10 minutes. We'll be under your landing gear. Barnes out. Lockwood, your light's in our window. Harrison Lockwood to all cars. We're out of the running. Blew a tire. Over and out.
Governor Grisby, did you ever stop to think there might be copies of your fingerprint record? Or that I may have had them photographed?
Where are they?
I mailed copies to my roommates, with a note saying if I wasn't back within 24 hours, they were to notify the F.B.I.
I don't think you did, Miss Wayne. I don't think you had time to mail anything to anybody. If you did have duplicates made, they're in here. So they've heard everything we've said. That's very interesting. I hope they're still listening. I'm walking out of here, and Miss Wayne goes with me. Whether she lives or not is up to you. Not much time.
You go ahead, Blake. I'm tired. I'm tired of running.
False targets. Field and broadcasting. I'll hang it up over the area. Check me when you enter. Scout out.
made the honor plaque tonight.
You'll still have to make it the hard way.
Looks like it.